Hi, it's Tom Garrett, Senator from Virginia's 22nd Senate District, and I'm coming to you on what is the second to last day of the scheduled General Assembly session. And I say it that way because, unfortunately, it appears that we will be back. This session has brought forth a number of things. The media has chosen to focus largely on what was about 2% of bills that crossed over that dealt with social issues and my commitment to life and our commitment to the Constitution and Virginian Second Amendment rights. But truly, this was roughly 2% of the bills that crossed over. In reality, almost 98% of the bills that crossed over focused on things like providing a business climate, a growth climate, an economic climate that allows for the creation of jobs and the continued prosperity of the Commonwealth. And yet this session has been so incredibly divided upon partisan lines that a bill that came through today, which was the voter identification bill, which was modeled after the federal Help America Vote Act, which is less than 10 years old, or roughly 10 years old, that passed the United States Senate 92-2, and the United States House of Representatives 340-something to 40-something, came out of the Virginia Senate today on a 20-20 tie that had to be broken by Lieutenant Governor Bill Bolling. That's a bill that when the Democrats were in power in Washington, D.C., 92-2 it passed. And so here in Virginia, now the climate is such that a bill that had even broader allowances for identification, a bill that was even more liberally interpreted than the Federal Help America Vote Act, crossed out on exactly party lines. And that's been the story of this session. Democrat obstructionism in the Virginia Senate specifically, which is exactly countered by Democrats in the Virginia House of Delegates who are willing to vote to allow a budget out, to allow a budget to actually be debated, even when they later voted against that budget, has been the hallmark of this session. However, what we have done, what we've been able to accomplish in some instances, admittedly across party lines, thank goodness, is to work to cut back the unfunded mandates on the localities, not just in the 22nd District, but in the Commonwealth of Virginia. A bill patroned by Senator Steve Newman and myself removes about 18 of these unfunded mandates. Two other bills we carry will remove other unfunded mandates. And everywhere we looked and found unfunded mandates on localities, we stood up and we fought against them. Folks, understand this. An unfunded mandate on a locality is a backdoor tax increase for delegates and senators to come from Richmond and say, we didn't raise your taxes, when they promulgated laws that go back to the localities and provide additional requirements to those localities. The localities shall do this, the localities shall do that. Well, the localities have to raise that money somewhere. So it's disingenuous for us to come back home and say, we didn't raise your taxes, but we did pass a bunch of bills that'll make your boards of supervisors or your city councils or your town councils do so. And that's been a hallmark of our session. We didn't do that. We're proud to have rolled back probably about 30 of the 616 unfunded mandates that were discovered against Virginia localities. Furthermore, we focused on working for our constituents. While the 22nd District has transportation needs, they're not identical to those of Hampton Roads, of Northern Virginia. And so when there were some who would have liked to put a tax increase on gasoline into the budget, ourselves and several other senators stood up and said we simply won't vote for it. Any tax increase on gasoline that goes to localities like the ones in the 22nd District fails to realize that in jurisdictions like Cumberland there is 0 supermarkets. Buckingham, Prince Edward, Fluvanna, Louisa, Amherst, Appomattox, even in Lynchburg, we just simply have to drive further to get to church, to get to work, to get our kids to school. And so what happens when these gas taxes are increased is we pay more money, which is then immediately diverted to Northern Virginia and Hampton Roads. And during this session, we've stood up for those principles, for the 22nd District, for conservative government, for life, for the Constitution, and for Second Amendment rights for law-abiding citizens. We're proud of that, and we're delighted with how our first session went. We're blessed and honored to have had the opportunity to serve you. The only tragic side note is the partisanship and the bickering and the petty divisiveness that the Senate Democrats have instituted in keeping Virginia from having a budget and mandating that we will be back again, unfortunately. Thank you again, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you as the opportunity provides itself over the coming days, weeks, and months. Thank you.